Hello, and happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for joining In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. Thank you so much for joining us live. And if you're joining us on a replay, thanks for checking us out as well. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm Winnie Sun, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and also host of Level Up, which can also be found on NASDAQ, amongst many other platforms. But of course, why Wednesday is so fun is because Greg and I get to reunite. And Greg, how are you doing today? How's the weather?
I'm doing good. It's a lot better than it was a week ago. Like a week ago when we were starting this, when we were doing this show, it started dumping snow. So it kind of went crazy here over the last few days, but it's good now. It's back to normal, gray, rainy, drizzly weather here, which is normal. So we're back to that. So that's good. But otherwise, yeah, I'm doing great. It's always, like you said, so much fun to be here. And I know we've got a lot of people watching on all those different platforms and joining in. I'm Greg Nibbler, a longtime tech reporter. Really excited, to be here with all of you and to see your comments. So drop in those comments wherever you're watching. Let us know what you want to talk about. And I know today we're going to be talking a little bit about what to watch. So this is kind of the thing that we do every month here is like, what's coming up? What are you excited to check out? Maybe what you're watching right now that we might not know about. Like, let us know what that is, because I always love hearing recommendations. And I've got a couple that I'm going to put out there later on in the show. But yeah, definitely drop those in. And, I know there's, as always, a lot going on in the world of finances. And Winnie, I know you've got a few things that you wanted to talk about here, at least at the beginning.
I do have a few things, Greg, because I brought them up because some of them I definitely want your thinking and sort of your expertise on. It fell into my line of business news, but I feel like you're going to bring the tech angle for me for sure. I want to say a big welcome, of course, to Joshua Crossix Fighter joining us on YouTube Live. Happy March 1st to you as well, our friend. Thanks of the show. Thanks so much for being here. Let's start with how the market closed, Greg. So some good news and some negative news. The Dow closed up 5.86, just NASDAQ down 76 points, and the S&P 500 also down 18 points. But if you've been following the news and perhaps you've been following social media, you'll see one topic that continues to trend all day today, and that is the U.S. Supreme Court / student loans / President Joe Biden. If you didn't know this already, President Joe Biden is introducing a student debt relief plan, which has the potential to impact millions of borrowers by wiping away or reducing their student loan debt. Now, as you know, this has sort of become a hot political topic because I guess here in the Supreme Court, some Republican appointed judges have blocked the Joe Biden and his administration's ability to implement this so far, which leaves sort of the outcome to this case sort of uncertain. So many people were able to watch the case unfold this morning live. If you were on the East Coast, it's probably a little bit easier for you than here on the West Coast. But this case is highly significant because this has a potential to not just for the millions of borrowers currently struggling with student debt, but is also sort of a broader issue of student debt here in the United States in general. In fact, Senator Bernie Sanders was talking about how in the richest nation of the land that actually education should be free from K through graduate school. This is what he was saying. I saw him sharing this on Twitter earlier today. So the Biden administration is proposing several measures to address student debt, including income-driven repayment plans and also forgiving up to $10,000 in student debt per borrower. Now, of course, people are saying like, is this fair? Can this be done? And that's part of what the Supreme Court, some of the justices were saying that they just didn't think it was fair because some people actually had to pay their student loans, had to save in order to do so. And so a lot of people were saying prior to today's meeting, in fact, that there's not that big of a chance that President Biden would be able to forgive student loans. But this is kind of an interesting twist, if you will. a lot of attorneys and actually legal professors, including Stephen Swin, who is the University of Illinois Chicago law professor, were saying that there was a really impressive attorney. Solicitor General Elizabeth Pregogar, I think I'm saying her, I'm hoping I'm saying her name right, had a very impressive performance. They actually compared her like to, let's say, an NFL player to someone who's just like just messing around playing like tag football, and how great a performance she gave. So they're saying that her performance was so strong that she actually could win this for the Biden administration. So we're gonna have to see. I mean, did you? I mean, I didn't expect to hear that, Greg. Like actually, that that two legal teams would go to the Supreme Court. That one team wouldn't be that prepared. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, well, nothing's always that surprising, I think, anymore with any of them. But I mean, this is just such a huge issue, and everybody's. I feel like everybody's got some really strong opinions on either side of that issue, and there's a lot of nuance to it. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting if this does go through. If it does kind of make its way there. But yeah, I know a lot of people who feel strongly one side or the other on everything associated with it. Yeah, that's just kind of where I don't want to go too far into one side
Yeah,
or
we don't
another.
want to go too far. We're
But
more curious about how you feel about it, right? Those of you
yeah,
watching, like
yeah,
let us know in comments how you feel about it. I had student debt, and certainly student debt wasn't as big as it is now. I think people
right,
owe way more money. I mean, I graduated from a public school. I had to pay off the debt, had to
yeah,
earn money to be able to do that. But I mean, we're hearing of people paying student debt for like 20, 30 years now, right?
right,
So I
and
think it's just, yeah.
that's not right. Yeah, you shouldn't have to be saddled with that for 20 or 30 years
Yeah.
afterward.
They're saying that people can't, people are making decisions not to get married or not to have children, or they can never even purchase a vehicle. I guess, it's because interest rates have gone up. I'm sure that's
Yeah,
added to the fire, right?
right, yeah, and I feel like there's some kind of balance in there that can be struck, but
Mhm.
that's up to obviously in front of the
Not
Supreme
us.
Court, so not us. Yeah,
Not us. We're not the
but
Supreme Court. And s and speaking of another group that is not us, Greg, but I thought this was interesting. I think this is really good news. Is this is coming from Eli Lilly today. Now you may know that, there's many Americans, all well, not just Americans, but people all across the globe that suffer from diabetes 1 and 2, and they have to have medication to manage your insulin. My dad had to take injections for many, many years. And I know that that medication is very expensive here in the United States. In fact, when I visited family in Taiwan, he asked me to bring insulin back for him. That's like how much less expensive it is in other countries. Well, Eli Lilly has now just announced they plan to reduce the cost of insulin drugs by 70%. So this is wonderful news. It's going to limit the amount that patients pay out of pocket per month to $35. Now, to give you an idea just how big this is, I mean, really, in many ways, this drug should almost be near free because it was sort of given away by the person who founded it and whatnot. But over the past 30 years, Eli Lilly has raised this cost of their insulin product, which is called Humalog, by more than 1,000%. So they've really made quite a bit of money off insulin. So I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people that are against this, maybe, but it seems like a really good move, Greg. I mean, I thought that was something to celebrate for those of you who have take insulin or who maybe have loved ones. I'm sure you would agree.
I love that. Yeah, the fact that it's gone up 1,000% over that time. I mean, that's
Mhm.
just wrong. So yeah, getting it down to that, or even that's a great start.
A great start.
Yeah,
We'll
it
take it.
could go
Mhm.
lower than that too, but that's a win. So that actually is good to hear.
Yeah, life-saving drug, right? So that was
Yeah,
good. So we did wanna
exactly.
yeah, so we really wanna share that with you, today, before we jump into some more fun stuff that we talk about. But let's go into this, Greg. I mean, we gotta talk
Mhm.
about this. Now, in full disclosure, we didn't have much time to watch this, primarily because we were preparing for today's show. But some of you may have seen this was trending also all over social media, Tesla's Investor Day. Now, I know, Greg, you watch, like, the Apple event, the Samsung event, I'm guessing this is right up your alley as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely be watching it later on. I've kind of taken a look at some of the highlights of what's happened. Like you said, I didn't have time to check it out all live. But anytime that has something to do with, and whatever your opinion is on Elon Musk, I mean, he's a very important person. His companies are very important, and finding out what's going on with Tesla and everything, I mean, that's a huge deal for a lot of people.
It's a huge deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so to give you an idea, there was some talk yesterday about, like, what they were gonna discuss it. I only
Mhm.
watched probably the first, like, 5 to 10 minutes of it, but I will say this, what I thought was interesting, they started late, Greg, one thing. They started, I think it was supposed to, I don't know, I think it was about 1 o'clock our time, but it didn't start till like 1:20. And then it was like Elon and one of his probably directors at his company at Tesla. And they sort of started talking about sort of their broad scope plan of getting to a point where that we didn't rely so much on fossil fuels. And they kept using the term like fossil fuel economy and, like, obviously solar economy and whatnot. And they're sort of they piecemealed it, saying, like, first this would happen, and then this part, and then everybody would be driving an EV vehicle, and then at some point they're talking about how all our homes need to have these, like, oh goodness, I forgot the term. I think it's like it looks like an air conditioning unit, but it's like not. It's like
The battery.
heat something other. But basically, yeah, it's like this thing at your house would then create energy to heat up your home, and how all these pieces would have a very little impact on the earth, like very little footprint, and the amount that even moves like a vehicle Model Y is just like as much as energy as it takes to heat up a pot of water from to boiling point. So it's like it's very, very small.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because one thing, Greg, I saw is like I didn't feel like I was very well prepared. It just felt like Elon and one of his buddies went up to talk to us about this, and then yeah. So
Yeah.
you'll have to see it and tell me what you think later.
I definitely, I mean, having watched a lot of Elon's press conferences and product unveilings and all of that, that doesn't surprise me that he's just kind of rattling off things.
Mhm.
They usually seem a lot off the top of his head, where it's just like, oh yeah, and then there's this, and then there's this, and I think that's why for a lot of things, that Elon Musk has announced and said, and giving credit where credit's due. I mean, he's done some great things with Tesla. They've come out
Mhm.
with a lot of great things. There's also a lot of promises and things that are said in these things that just haven't happened. I mean, where's our Cybertruck? That's number one. But
Yeah.
also, and
Supposedly
so
to be delayed for a few more months, but supposedly it's gonna be on sale at the end of this year. Who knows?
yeah, which I think we've heard that for like 3 years in a row now or something. But I mean, if it does, great. But yeah, the ideas though, I think that's fantastic. Looking for a fully renewable energy future, and he's certainly done a lot of things. I mean, Tesla's done a lot of things to kind of move in that direction. So whether it exactly happens what he says or not, or it's just an idea to go to the future, maybe somebody else does it. I love the thinking on it.
Yeah,
Getting
the
there.
thinking is good. Like you said, credit where credit is due. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If he didn't really take Tesla and push it so hard at
Yeah.
this point, I think there'd be a lot less of us driving electric vehicles, sort of improving that.
Totally.
But some of the stuff I went over so quickly because honestly, this organization of it kind of threw me off, Greg. So it'd be interesting. I want to see what you think about it. But the other thing that I think is interesting too, and in the area of car news, I don't know if you heard this, but if those of you are watching, if you drive a Nissan, or if someone you know that you love or care about drives a Nissan, this should be on your radar as well. So Nissan is also recalling over 700,000 SUVs because they just unexpectedly shut off. Did you hear about this, Greg?
Yeah, that's wild. 700,000 SUVs. Yeah, and plus dangerous. I mean, just shutting off like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you do have a Nissan, definitely you need to be aware of this.
Yeah. So, especially if you have a model 2016 through 2020, that's on the Nissan Rogue. But you have the Rogue Sport, it's 2017 to 2022 is sort of key. But what I thought was really interesting about the story too is that they said they don't actually have a solution for you yet. So they're gonna figure out the solution, and then when they do, they'll fix your car for free. But in the meantime, they're just recommending that you don't hang anything on your Nissan key. So that's a little odd because most of us have keychains that have some
Yeah.
sort of weight on them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just weird. And also just, we don't know how we're going to fix it, but you just don't do this. That's a little unnerving.
Yeah. But yeah, so pay attention to that if you drive one of those vehicles. I think my sister-in-law actually drives that vehicle, so I'm gonna have to check
Really?
in on her. But yeah, I mean, Greg, you're right. This is a really fun episode of what to watch. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. I got my pen. So,
Okay.
I wait for your recommendations every month.
Well, I can start it off here with one
Okay.
that I thought was pretty interesting. And again, for what to watch, everybody who's watching us right now. I mean, number one, what to watch is the loop. But other than that, drop in your suggestions, as we go along, and your thoughts and comments. Because the first one I wanted to talk about is something that's actually happening for the very first time. And I'm more curious about the process than even I am about the show. And it's that Chris Rock is doing a live comedy special on Netflix. So it's going to be Netflix, but live programming, a live comedy special that's happening on Saturday. So March 4th. I think it starts at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. They're going to have it's like more than just to his comedy special. There's going to be like a pre-show. Let me see if I got the list of guests here. It was just crazy of how many people that were going to be involved in this thing. So the pre-show is going to have like Leslie Jones, Arsenio Hall, Ice-T, Jerry Seinfeld, Kevin Hart, Paul McCartney,
Wow.
Sarah Silverman, Wanda Sykes, Cedric the Entertainer. So these are all people that are going to be part of this special. I don't know what they're going to be doing on stage or with commentary, how that works. And then Chris Rock is going to do his live special where I guess he's going to address the Will Smith stuff during it, supposedly. So there's that, which if you're a fan of Chris Rock, I'm sure this is going to be really good. And then there's a post show as well. The thing, the Chris Rock side of it, again, if you're a fan of Chris Rock, you'll want to watch this. If you're not, this may not be for you. But I think the process is appealing to kind of everybody, just to see how this works and if this is something that Netflix is going to be doing more of, or how all the streaming platforms could handle this kind of live entertainment and how it works out. I guess I just want to see if it works, if it's something that people are actually going to tune in to Netflix at 6:30 to watch the special, or is everybody just going to watch it afterward like you normally do? I don't know if I'm going to, there's a possibility I may turn it on for a little bit actually during the live just to see the process of it, to be honest. But I would think most people probably won't on a Saturday evening, but who knows? We'll have to see what the numbers come out to be. I think it's kind of a fascinating process though, just to see if this is
I
something that
think,
people
yeah, I think it is fascinating process. I mean, I've seen like Peacock TV has sort of done that, right? They have some live
Mm-hmm.
streaming, but most of the good
Yep.
stuff you got to watch on replay. It'll also
Yeah.
be interesting to see like Netflix kind of coming full circle of giving us live TV. And I just gotta say, Greg, like I feel like Chris Rock talk about really being smart on branding because because of the slap that he endured from Will Smith, we know at the Oscars last year, he's always sort of stay quiet on the topic for a long time. And I
Yeah.
just noticed in the news in the last week or two, there's been articles saying that Chris Rock is finally ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, how smart to sort of do that right before your big Netflix reveal,
Yeah.
right? So I think if you want to hear what he has to talk about, you're gonna want to watch this. But I
Yeah.
don't know. As for me, it's probably a pass on watching it live. Maybe if I have time, I'll watch it on replay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see the process. I will say though, that with the Will Smith thing, I'm going to imagine like social media is going to be
Yeah,
all about whatever Chris Rock says on Saturday evening. So watch it or not, be prepared for that if you're on social media. So I mean, Chris Rock said
absolutely.
this and Chris Rock, whatever he says.
Yeah, you can
So
just write to highlights on social media. People will be
yeah, yeah,
cutting and clipping for you.
yeah, you'll watch it whether you want to or not. You'll end up seeing those things. They'll pop up. But yeah, that was the first one that I just had. I think that's kind of just an interesting thing that doesn't happen all the time. So I want to put that one out there.
I
But
love
want to
that.
go back and forth?
Sure, let's do this. Okay. Well, for those of you who are tuning in, I know we also stream on Modern Mom, which sort of gives you that full family entertainment as well. This is one I think looks like a lot of fun, and this is called Chain Can Dunk. All right, this is on Disney Plus. It is a original movie. It is rated PG. You can stream it on Disney Plus starting March 10th, which is like in 2 weekends from now. And this, like, I just like this. It's a feel good type of thing. I would definitely have my kids watch it. It kind of talks about sort of coming of age story where this kid named Chang, which is interesting because Chang is typically a last name. So I don't know. Chang,
Interesting.
16-year-old Asian American high school student. He's a member of the marching band. And it talks about how he bets sort of this basketball star that he's able to dunk. And I watched the sort of preview, and I guess he's only 5'8", so it's not like he's a 6-foot dunker, right? And I guess he challenges this basketball star for like a Pokemon card. I mean, there's like some stereotypes in there, but I'm excited to see how this unveils itself. And I do think, for me as someone who has kids, I think this is one of those stories it'll be fun to see because it shows him really pushing himself and really working hard towards this goal. And I'm gonna guess, since this is Disney, I'm gonna guess like he's successful, Greg. I don't know what you think,
That would be a weird Disney movie. Like,
right?
oh man, he couldn't do it, and that's the bully wins. Um, but no, that's really. I'll say this: I'm always a fan of the short people dunking. So anybody, Spud Webb all the way, Mac McClung. But yeah, I think that's great. So that looks like actually a fun movie, and it's got any kind of thing that involves like a little bit of sports into it too. I don't know why I'm always a sucker for it. So
Well, maybe because you used to work for the NBA. I mean,
that's
this
true.
this really, I think this is one of those things. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's on Disney Plus. You're not going to theater. It's like easy, start watching. This is definitely something we're gonna watch. And then, for those of you who have families, even if you don't have kids, like I'm just curious. Like Joshua, are you gonna watch this? Would you
Yeah.
watch this? I'm gonna watch it. I think why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely anybody who has kids too, that's this is a good one. But I mean, I don't know. That looks like it's a fun movie no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Well, talking about the sports side of things, I guess that's how I'm going to try to segue this. Let's go to another one on Apple TV Plus, and this is one that probably a lot of people have marked down and have on their calendars. But if you haven't watched it, you have time to catch up on everything, and that is the return of Ted Lasso. So Ted
Yay.
Lasso, yeah, it's so good. And this was really what gave Apple TV Plus kind of a name. I mean, before Ted Lasso, they didn't really have a hit, and this was just this surprise hit that I don't think a lot of people really watched it right out of the gate, but then word of mouth kind of spread, and it just became this phenomenon. And it's because it's just a fun show. Now, I'm not going to say this is kid friendly. There's language, so just to advertise for that. I know for my recommendations usually trend a little bit more on the adult side, but it is such a feel good show. Like if you're looking for something that's just is great characters, but you're just gonna have a good time watching it. And I guess feel good is kind of where I would go with that. Ted Lasso is just pleasant. It's funny. It's so good. Again, probably a lot of people have watched it, but if you have not, I highly suggest checking it out just for something that's fun to watch. You don't have to overthink it. Jason Sudeikis is amazing in it, but so are all the other actors. And this is the season 3. So the season 2 kind of left on a big cliffhanger, and season 3 kind of takes it up to where this next level is. So I think it's going to be really fun. I will definitely be watching it as soon as it comes out, because it's Ted Lasso. It's a good time. So I want to make sure that's on everybody's radar. I think that's coming up on March 15th.
Ooh, busy month. Lots to watch this month, Greg.
Lots of stuff.
Very
Lots of stuff
excited.
this month.
Yeah, definitely wrote that one down for sure.
Yeah.
March 15th. Very, very cool.
Yep. So that's my second one there.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to share another one with you, Greg, because this one I think many of you will be excited about. To be honest with you, this was not necessarily right up my alley, but my creative director, Curtis, brought this to my attention after watching the preview. I'm like, I am totally watching that. All right. So this one is called Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This is rated PG-13. It's coming to theaters at the end of the month. So this is going to be on March 31st. So a lot of things coming up in March. This is really, I mean, this kind of gives you sort of that Harry Potter / Lord of the Rings feel. This is actually, it feels fun. It's interesting if you see some of the actors and actresses. You're going to seem very, very familiar. You're going to see them from like some of the actors from more television versus just movies, but combined. This is pretty cool. So I don't know, Greg, did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons when you were
not that much, but definitely adjacent. So I haven't actually sat down and played a full game of Dungeons and Dragons. I had the kind of the knockoff version called Dungeon is what I played when I was a kid. I didn't know the difference at the time. But I love though the creativity of this, and I know this has been a long time coming for this movie. Chris Pine specifically, I know, has been heavily involved in this thing, getting this thing made, and that's a community. Hardcore Dungeons and Dragons people. There is no lack of opinions when it comes to that side of to playing, and this has been highly anticipated, and it looks really good. I mean, I can say right now, I couldn't tell you if this matches any kind of storyline but it looks great.
It looks
I will
great.
definitely be watching it.
I hope this comes on streaming. I'll probably stream
Yeah.
this just because I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons person. I never have been. But then I guess the story follows like a very charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers as they embark on an epic heist to retrieve a lost relic. I guess this relic is a big thing. In fact, I watched a preview and they were saying like, I guess they got the relic and they gave it to the wrong people. And so now I had to fix it because when they gave it to the wrong people, they unleashed this like really, really dangerous bad person or entity or creature or whatever. And I'm sure Curtis on listening to us right now is laughing because I'm saying it all wrong. But I'm just gonna say it looks really cool. And so this is one that I would watch, but for me, not enough to go in the theater yet. I'll probably wait for this to be streaming.
Yeah, I'll probably wait to stream it as well, but I will definitely be watching that. I mean, just the special effects alone, I mean, that's going to get me to watch it just to see how they do it all and how realistic it could look. But I don't know. It looks pretty fun.
Looks
It
fun.
just looks like a fun movie.
Yeah.
So,
CrossX Fighter on YouTube Live is saying that CrossX Fighter is definitely interested. So thank you so much for that feedback. And those of you, we see many of you joining on all different social media platforms. Say, let us know what you think of these shows that Greg and I have unleashed upon you. And do you like them? Do you not like them? And is there anything else that you'll be watching that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, please. Any recommendations that you have to drop in there. So I've got my last one, and normally I'm just going to say this would be The Mandalorian, but I already did it earlier. So I did that a little bit too early, but The Mandalorian does come out. So please be aware of that. But this other one, so this is one that I feel like hasn't got quite as much of attention. And if you're a fan of Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad or just Bob Odenkirk, this one should be on your radar. So it's called Lucky Hank. And Bob Odenkirk is the star. It's going to be on AMC. And for me, I'm such a Bob Odenkirk fan that anything that he does, I'm probably going to watch. It's like him and Pedro Pascal. Like, yeah, all right, you got me. So Bob Odenkirk, though, he plays kind of the general premise. He's like a middle-aged professor. He's cranky and he's going through this kind of midlife crisis thing. And that's kind of where they spin off. So I guess he's just kind of a sour dude. And that's where the funny comes from it. So they said it's a comedy, it's drama, whatever gets mixed in. Yeah, Oscar Nunez is in there. So the cast is going to be amazing. It's Bob Odenkirk. The whole show just looks really, really, really fun to me. So again, if you are a Bob Odenkirk fan, this is one that you're going to want to check out and put on your radar. It's March 19th. So the actual description is this: Lucky Hank follows the story of William Henry Hank Devereaux Jr., the bitter and grumpy chairman of the English department in the fictional Railton College. The series focuses on how his self-proclaimed difficult nature affects everyone around him and, in a way, his own life. So that's kind of the description there. That was just
so Greg, remind us again where we can watch this.
So this is going to be on AMC, which I know that's kind of AMC is because you have to pay extra to watch on AMC. So just be aware of that. But it is that's where you can go check this one out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that. Thank you so much, Greg. That actually looks really good. Hopefully, it'll be shared on other streaming platforms as well. Lucky Hank.
Cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so I'm gonna just give you my last choice, and this one, thanks to Curtis again for helping me find this one. This one stars with a pretty impressive cast. I kind of love it. So Michael B. Jordan, okay, Felicia Rashid, she's amazing. Woody Harris, amongst many, many others. But this is a movie called Creed 3. right?
Yes.
This is a boxing drama. I know this is not exactly like what I would have picked, but let me see. Let me tell you, I can't wait to see this one. This one really looks really cool. It's coming to theaters this Friday, in fact, on March 3rd. Okay, so talking about Adonis Creed, which is a rising star in the boxing world, and just sort of it kind of goes through the behind the scenes of his childhood, and talking about his childhood friend, and then talking about like just his life in boxing. I think for those of you who like those sort of those stories, probably those like going through someone's life and all their struggles, this is probably something that's going to have something for you. It talks about loyalty, it talks about redemption, high stakes of professional sports. It's one of those
Yeah.
movies. So
This is right. I mean, I've liked the other Creed movies. I like Michael B. Jordan. I like Jonathan Majors a lot too. I'll be watching this one. I mean, I don't know. I might go to the theater for this one. There's
yeah,
a
I'm gonna wait
possibility.
for streaming for this one too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, if you've watched any of these movies, like I'm not a huge Rocky fan. I don't even think I've seen all of the Rocky movies, but
yeah,
watching the Creed movies, they're fun. I mean, you know what you're getting. He's going to have a personal struggle. He's going to have a weird opponent who's maybe better than him, but then he finds a way to get around it, or whatever it is, or it's his best friend and they're fighting. But it's either way, it's going to be it's going to be good. Like I'll be watching this 100%.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what we got this month. So we're really curious to see what all of you think about our choices this month. Is there something that we've shared that you're like, I absolutely will be watching? And if you don't mind, you can go jump in and let us know how you feel about that. And if there's something that, we
Yeah.
haven't seen.
Yeah, please let us know. Hit us up on any platform. Tell us, what you think, and what you think of our selections. But also, there's so many shows out there that I feel like are hidden gems that I
Mhm.
don't know about unless somebody recommends them to me, because you're not going to randomly come across it in any kind of review. So please tell us there's something really cool that you think we should watch, or that anybody should watch, and tag us and let us know about it, because we'd love to check them out.
We love to check them out. And I feel like, Greg, that's like a perfect opportunity right now because like so much of the country is going through strange weather. And
Yeah,
then, we're going into the spring. And like unless you're like really busy planning for tax season, which I am, you
right.
might want to have like some feel good movies to just bump on the sofa and hang out and watch. So I think hopefully we gave you some options there. And
Yeah,
then maybe you can like, share a little more and maybe tag us on social on some different ideas because we love to hear from you on
please
that.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, so and thanks everybody as always, for joining in and being here with us and watching the show. We appreciate all of you, being a part of this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And we can't wait to catch up with you again next week. So if we don't see you until then, tweet us on social or post it, whatever, tag us. So that
Yeah,
way we can properly thank you and do us a favor and share the show with those that you care
please.
about. That will really help us out as well. But we'll look forward to seeing you next week. And so if we don't talk to you then, have an amazing weekend.
Yeah. Bye everybody.
Bye bye.